All right, this meeting is being live streamed. Shut that off. We're live on YouTube. Why are we live on YouTube? Because we can. Because we can. So let me go here, shut that down, open this up so we can see the chat. How's everyone doing? I was just sitting here, making a mockery of my life. I was like, I'm gonna go live. We're gonna chat. We're gonna burn some dragon's blood first, though. Hello, S6767S. Quite a robotic YouTube name there. How's everyone doing? Top chat, we got 7. Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is about. Something said just hop on and go live. And I've been wanting to all day. Just to kind of have a little connection with everyone. Hello, how's everyone doing? Not sure what I'm going to talk about. First, we're just going to get the dragon's blood out of the way, help to clear out the area. So if you want to get some cleansing for your field, let Mama Dragon's Blood come in and help out. Beautiful. So I was thinking about possibly pulling some Oracle cards. I don't know. We're just going to flow with it. Flow with it and see. Flow with it and see. There's a lot happening right now, and that's partially why I wanted to come in and talk. Just kind of like, I want to be real about the awakening, the ascension process, what we all have to go through in order to awaken fully to so many different things. And I noticed that right now, how much social media is affecting our awakening process. And I don't feel like people really fully recognize it. Even myself, you know, having a platform that's on, you know, YouTube. I'm no longer on Instagram or Facebook, but really being able to become cognizant and aware of how much it's having an effect on our lives. You can hear it in the field right now. I mean, it seems like every person I encounter, all I hear is Instagram, 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 Instagram. And obviously that's playing on a connection that I have within my own body, right? So literally I can have a discussion with someone, pull away, and all I hear is just lingering in the field, Instagram, 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 Instagram. And it seems like this this addiction right now is very much so prevalent, or the obsession with social media, especially with the fact that we are playing in so much separation, right? And I'll tell you what, when my sensitivity is increasing, all right, when my sensitivity is increasing, I'm expanding my awareness, I'm becoming more aware. I don't want to interact with people. I really don't. I'm like, I would rather just hide in all day. Well, what happens when we hide in bed, right? And you've got access to a cellular device. You start scrolling. But I've been hearing it pop up a lot in the field. Just this loop of Instagram, 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 Instagram. And it's really making me become more and more aware of how much our awareness is increasing, but also too how much we're constantly interacting with AI like throughout the day. And what's really interesting about this is it's like that organic connection to Gaia is really, really important right now while all this stuff is going on. But even myself, right, when the physical body is going through its process, I don't want to go for a run. I don't want to go for a jog, right? I want to be able to melt and relax. And so sometimes there's moments where we have to just kind of stay within. And right now, more than ever, going through the restructuring of social media, right? Because that's definitely happening. A lot of interesting feelings kind of coming up regarding things like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and the rise of new social media, right? Like the rise of this media of light that's conscious media and conscious community where we can all share and support as guardians, as light beings in a body, to be able to share with one another where we're not interfacing and interacting with so much of this stuff, right? So much of this stuff, it's very loud and prevalent in the field right now. And I think that's really the one thing that we all need to become more aware of is what our self-care routine is as we're awakening and as we're expanding and we're becoming more aware of everything going on in society, in the world, the agendas, right? Not only that, but also the various rabbit holes that exist, right? So raise your hand if you've ever been in a rabbit hole and came out smelling like rabbit shit, right? It's a part of the process of awakening, getting rabbit holed. And myself, it's still having to clean off so much ick, like so much stuff, and then hearing this happening in the collective and hearing it happening with neighbors and things like that as we expand our awareness, right? What is our self-care and our self-compassion to come back to that place of nurture, right? How what does it take for us to be able to come forward and to be able to really care for not only ourself as the essence and as the body, but like how do we begin to care again for our psychic abilities, right? And this is more of a question that's coming out into the field to make sure that we're maintaining that energetic hygiene, right? And we're maintaining that that cosmic connection back with our self, and really reclaiming our psychic sovereignty, I guess you could say, or energetic sovereignty, right? Because there is a lot of playing kind of going on up here right now as things are getting cleaned up, right? And as we're washing out all the bullshit, there's a lot of stuff. LB was actually talking about this in her collective copy on Sunday. She was talking about how much interference there's been. And I agree, but it's always also too always playing into, at some level or some degree, depending upon the dimensional bandwidth that we hold, either something that we hold within or something that we're tuned to, and we have to now begin to consciously tune our awareness into a higher trajectory, or to go within and to listen to the heart only as these things are going on, right? So a part of this that humanity is going to be waking up to, and waking up to in our own levels, right, depending upon your level of awareness. For me, since my awareness has been blown wide open a lot more recently, interfacing with things like AI, interfacing with things like hearing so much stuff going on in the field. Let me catch up on the live, see if there's anything. Okay. Hearing so much going on, becoming more and more aware, really is that time to really soften and nurture the body, the form that's as it's shifting, but also to become really aware of the timelines that we're propagating right now, guys. Really becoming consciously aware and consciously tuning in to go, what do I need to let go of, right? What is still echoing an old imprint of the past within my own life, right? What connections do I have to people that are keeping me in an old storyline? Because as I myself have been jumping through various timelines and doing a lot of cleanup work, and including out in Sedona, as I was doing that when I was out there, it's still, there's still a lot of cleanup occurring, but it's becoming now aware of all of our timelines that we are connected to with people, places, and things, right? Because I'm noticing that for myself, the more pressure that gets kind of put on me, the more I'm kind of, my higher self is working through me to flow me into a new direction, and almost forcing me to resolve things and to let some things go out of my life at a rapid, accelerated rate. And I feel like that's the amplification that is going to keep rising up for all of us, especially through the rest of this month. There's a lot of life review stuff going on. Even myself, I had heard the rest of the month is going to be Judgment Day. And if you're not aware of Judgment Day is basically just kind of like a collective. For some of us, it's individual. Some of us, it's collective. It's life review stuff. It's going into, the halls of Amenti or the halls of justice, right? And really going through and making peace with our pathways, unplugging from old contracts, old soul binds, old tethers, old cords, right? Old past life memories, clearing all that stuff out. And as we're going through this process, it can feel like, what the heck is going on, right? And even in my own life, I sit here, all I have to do is sit down, and all of a sudden it's like, it's like having the peanut gallery talking. It's like, guys, can you shut the fuck up for a little bit? But it's really, it's necessary, right? And so through this, one thing that's helped me, that Shaman Destiny teaches a lot, and she's been helping me over the ethers with, has been Ho'oponopono work, right? So shout out to her for preaching the good word of Ho'oponopono. The forgiveness work, when you're encountering things in your reality, and when you're encountering it etherically too, making sure you're completely going into that level of the Ho'oponopono or the forgiveness or the I love you, right? And taking command over your reality, taking command over your sovereignty, right? Even myself, there are things that keep coming back around, and I'm like, oh, it's over and over again. Clear the channel, clear the lines, clear the lifetimes, get this shit out of here, right? Go. And having to constantly do that over and over again so I can find peace within myself. Now, there's one way to do it, right? Is to command that powerful essence to kick it out. But there's also this level right now, especially with all of the compassion that we're being called forward, we're being called to embody here and now, right? For everything going on, right? Especially in the unity consciousness perspective. So if we're living with a unity consciousness, a unified approach to how we're interacting with everyone as light, it requires compassion. Well, what a great way to start it if you're in that phase of balancing pathways and bridging new earth realities and doing gatekeeping and grid keeping, right? Is and you're having to like stay down or stay in bed, is when you encounter something etherically or psychically, right? Or you have a vision, how are you interacting with that with the eyes of compassion in the oneness and the allness kind of perspective, in the allness and the oneness perspective? How are you doing that? Hello, Sacred and Salty. And so for myself now, it's really about like allowing the master to appear before himself and being able to finally send out those waves and forgiveness to love to aspects of me and timelines and especially interacting with the AI stuff, right? Like, because etherically it does happen, is then we just go and go, hi, little bot, I love you. How are you? Sweet. You know, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Right. It's really one of those that really, when we begin to offer that forgiveness and compassion in the ethers, so can we as well here in our interactions here. Now, please, by all means, this is going to be different for everybody. So we're not fixating to this because it just came through. It was like, oh, wait, be careful about that information, right? Yeah. You got to handle everything differently. But I feel like when it comes to the review process, okay, yeah, let's go back to the review. So we don't go off on people now are interacting with things and going, I forgive you, I love you. You know, it might work for some people. Sometimes we have to literally, you have to go boot stomp some stuff out the fucking kitchen. You know what I mean? But it's about when we're undergoing this life review, right? Like, and we're encountering those voices, right? And we're hearing those things, or we're seeing those things, or we're remembering what we did in past lives and who we were and all of the trauma, right? And all of those good things as well, right? We want to make sure we want to make sure that we are showing forgiveness, love, and compassion to those aspects of us that went through those passageways, went through those situations, or were involved in those scenarios, because we're in the middle of retrieving the fractals from those storylines and bringing them all back here and now. So I feel like now going into Work Your Light, we're going to do a little bit of Oracle card. So I've been guided to stay away from tarot for right now, unless it's a personal one-on-one session. But I wanted to bring some crystalline energy, because there has been a lot of, when we're going through the halls of justice and the halls of Amenti stuff, it can get a little heavy. And so I wanted to make sure that I invited in a little bit of some crystalline love into my life and into your life streams as well. So we'll be playing with the Work Your Life Oracle deck, and just see who wants to come through for the collective. Who wants to come through for the collective? Wants to come through for the collective. Of course, thank you. Thank you. But wants to come through for the collective. This deck doesn't want to pop like my other decks do, so. Okay. Star Mother, how can you mother yourself? This is exactly what we're talking about. It's that process right now, that nurture and that compassion and that self-love, right? And really, it's really about embodying the energy of that mother. It's not only Star Mother, right? So if you're on your galactic awakening, you work with the Star Mother. For those of us awakening more elemental or into other spaces, this might come through different, but this is really about coming through with that really soft, nurturing component right now as we're undergoing the review we're going through this whole justice system collapse, all these things, all the revelations, all the other stuff, right, is really coming back into that essence of that self-nurture. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people too. There's a lot of people too that I've been running into quite a few people lately that don't like the term self-love, right? And so then it's really about coming back to a place of honor. Then if you don't like the word self-love, or you think self-love is overplayed and overused, let's go into then how can you honor yourself, right? Honor your time, honor yourself, right? At a soul higher self level. Sometimes it's a physical body level though too, so we don't want to negate the physical body from this experience. But then in the unified you, how can you honor yourself today? How can you mother yourself? How can you take and see, Amber, I'm gonna bring that up though. How do you sit with the pain and let it go when it just keeps resurfacing? I'm gonna touch on that one a little bit later because that's a great one. So please remind me, because that's been coming up for myself as well. Next is answer the call. What is your soul calling to do? And then we have the age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. So part of this nurturing essence and this reset that's happening in the timelines is then going, okay, where am I going from here? What am I doing with my life? Where am I moving forward to? Because with this, it says you've been training for this for lifetimes. This is that preparedness, knowing that what your soul is calling forward for as far as your vision. Referring to dreams too is where do you want to go? Where do you belong? Right? Where do you want to shift to? And what are you being called to recognize within yourself and within others that all along has been remaining dormant? Interesting. It seems like there's a lighter aspect or a lighter version of ourselves that's coming online that's going, can you see the light within everyone that you're encountering? Right? And so a part of this is like the soul calling you to do it. It's not always a New Earth project, but it might be to go relax out in nature. It might be to cut that friend out of your life. It might be breaking up with your spouse. It might be going to the doctor, right? It might be supporting vision, right? So a part of this soul calling is that right now it's going to be very different for every individual. It's about really at the end of the day, what is your soul leading you toward right now? What's your higher self flowing you into? Because if we start to resist the flow of the energetics of our soul and what our pathway is, the more abrupt the timelines go, and the more we start getting bung over the head, getting that crystalline 2x4 over the skull to go, kid, get into alignment, alignment. So a part of this is like really that within you, that hey, maybe I'm better off in another. Maybe I'm better off starting a new job. Maybe I'm better off going to to create a new project or to build a new career for myself, right? Maybe I'm better off detoxing off of social media entirely for the next 45 days and gifting myself opportunity to find out what it is to be an organic human again and to stay away from all the AI crap, right? Because whatever it's calling you to do, it's building you up as a forward momentum for what is coming forward for us. The thing is about what we are inviting in now. There's a lot of miracles, okay, guys. There's a lot of miracles right now that want to show up for us. And as a result of this, we have to begin delving into our own patterns, our own problems, right? Our own identities and our own ideology, and we have to shift them out. The reason that narratives stay alive within our own life is because we're holding the narrative alive. Okay, plain as day. We're holding the story alive. The reason why things keep happening to us over and over again in cyclical patterns is because we haven't quite got something from the lesson. Right? Loops exist. Loops because at some level we're quite getting the hint, right? And so the universe is going to be displaying that same storyline to us over and over and over again until we really get the hint to GTFO, get out, get Dodge, right? Get out of Dodge. And it can feel like we're living in a nightmare sometimes. I can completely relate to this. This is what we call a third dimensional experience. All right. It's a 3D reality. It's a 3D timeline, and it's ready to drop now. We just need to let it all go. Part of this is that it's about our emotional well-being when it comes to encountering these kinds of lives. Okay. So when we're encountering those those third dimensional lives that are very, very loopy, doopy, distorted, funhouse, mirror. There's nothing sacred about it. So for ourselves, we have to begin to witness and view ourselves as sacred, right? Begin caring for the sacred container, begin caring for the sacred self, right? And then begin allowing everything else to fall away. As we begin to treat ourselves as sacred, we're going to begin to see highlighted within our reality that which does not view us as sacred or that which we don't view as sacred. Then a part of making that adjustment is going, okay, how can I begin to view this from the eyes of compassion again and from the eyes of sacred soul essence, right? How can I use into my reality as a respectful knowing of God consciousness is showing up individual to invite me to learn or to tell me something about this, right? Discernment. It's all about discernment, guys. Use your discernment. But right now, we're very much so in that restructuring, prepared for what is next for ourselves, whether it's whether it's picking up a part-time job or going full-time into awakening in your ascension pathway. It can be very varied for various people, and I'm hearing all the storylines come up that are congruent with other people's stuff right now. Very much so, it's about now taking the time out every single day to begin playing with your own consciousness. Okay, the word so playing with your own consciousness doesn't mean to distort or change the game, but playing with your own consciousness is about making sure we're inviting in the essence and play into what we're learning to become as aspects of ourselves are being destroyed over and over and over again. Like right now, we're going through a great tumbling process. It's like, okay, so have you ever taken a mineral or rock and you've put it into a tumbler and you've started to tumble it? That's kind of what it feels like. We're knocking all the rigidity off of our life path. We're clearing all the spikes off of our field and we're softening. But of course, it feels degrading. Why does it feel? Because it's a degradation of our ego and an awakening of our soul purpose. When we go through that degradation is of the mind, right? It's that death process. And even myself today, I heard, ooh, rigor mortis is setting in. I was like, what? And they're like, like my life path has been dying for quite some time. Not my physical body, the timeline that I'm on. Right. And so as a result, I can feel that within my body more and I feel it within my psyche. I feel it within, I know that something's got to give. Right. And this is when, and thank you, Pluto. Yeah, I keep hearing Pluto and I'm seeing the death card, right? Is like, that's the invitation of Pluto is like, can we invite in that death and rebirth cycle right now? Can we get into that nitty gritty and go really deep and go, how are my beliefs reconstructing old pathways over and over again? And how can I begin to shift it? Right? How can I begin to let it go? How can I begin to traverse a new trajectory? What am I still fueling and keeping alive within my own reality every single day, right? What am I consuming? What is my body taking in? What is my mind taking in? Also, what am I telling myself? Because it's not only that which you're consuming, but it's that which you are keeping alive within you. So if you keep telling yourself that story over and over again, expecting different results, that's insanity, guys. It's insanity. So even for myself, I have to call myself on this as a sacred witness of this message, is to say, guys, we have to all start being mindful of the story we're also telling ourselves. How are we treating ourselves? How are we talking to ourselves? Right? And are we not and resolving all that and just projecting it onto other people and into other people's life paths, right? Putting them in stories that they don't need to get into. See what I mean? Like it's very much so about making sure that we are casting out as much of that old sequencing out of our lives, including going through and disrupting our own lives, okay? Disrupt our own lives to begin to gift ourselves a new viewpoint and a new perspective on that which is arriving for us, because that's what the review process is, very much so. So right now there is that forward momentum and that building up that is occurring in our own lives. And as we're building that momentum, we have to start doing it in a different way, in a new way, right? Because we're now beginning to initiate a new program or a new belief system in our life. We have to shift up the routine a little bit too. So yeah, I'm hearing eggs and bacon. I really want some eggs and bacon right now. I need to go to the store. I really want some eggs and bacon. But I'm hearing eggs and bacon. Can't eat meat really anymore, but I could use some eggs and bacon. So we're gonna go into just a little bit more messages. Shift that one out. See what else wants to come up. So how do you sit with the pain and let it go when it just keeps resurfacing? In that case, Amber, okay. In that case, for myself, what I would do is Corey, the governor of my own reality, right, is being able to take a moment to say, what do I let go of? Okay. If the pain keeps surfacing, who in my or what in my reality is representative of that pain and why does it keep resurfacing? Because at the end of the day, the reason why we still sit with, like, if there's a recurrent, so here's the other thing too, okay, really quickly, things happen in layers. So when it comes to clear trauma, there's very little trauma I've ever cleared in my life that I cleared in one shift. It required layering of it. The evolution that occurs, and we call it the golden spiral, the golden ratio, spiraling up into the sky, where we will revisit paths and we'll revisit patterns to clear it at a deeper and deeper level. So one level is if the pain's resurfacing, it's because it's not all the way gone. How do we let it go? We keep letting it go. We keep letting go. Whether it's physical body, right? How can I get if it's ascension symptoms, and essentially, like, there's this word coming through of momentum, right? We need to shift the momentum into a new trajectory, because when I think of life force energy, I think of a death spiral, which is a spiral downward. It's a black hole, or it's going into a spiral upward. And a part of that walk on your crystalline staircase is, how can I begin to take this momentum of this energy and begin bringing life back into my life, right? And even for myself, this is easier, guys. I recognize this when I say this stuff. It's easier said than done with a lot of things. It's easier said than done on so many different levels. But the requirement is to make the choice to begin that pathway into propagating life and the future for our own family, our own humanity, our own joy, and our own laughter again, right? The places of pain that brought us the greatest sorrow do not belong in tomorrow. The places that brought us the greatest sorrow do not belong in tomorrow. So we keep allowing it to clear at deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper levels. Forgiveness, kindness with self and with others, ending the pathways of persecution, of judgment, right? That's why these reviews happen, these judgment days occur. The judgment day occurs because we're clearing out judgment out of our lives, right? What we're clearing out is all of that stuff. Okay, so I'm hearing other things coming up, and I want to shift that one out because make sure that we're keeping this congruent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to say, I love you. I honor you. Things will get better, but we also have to begin to make conscious choice as well. Conscious choice. No matter where we're at, we have access to tools and resources available to us. Okay. And if you feel like we're restricted, please reach out to someone. Reach out to anyone that you can, that you feel comfortable with. I wouldn't say anyone. Use your discernment always. But if you feel like you need to grieve, you need to cry, you need to laugh, or you need to share a tear with someone, there's always someone out there that needs that, right? And it does, yes, Sarah, it gets easier with time. A part of that as well is that, and thank you for mentioning that, is that it does get easier with time. And when it doesn't get easier, it's because the universe is putting a squish or a squeeze on us to make a decision. And sometimes the most difficult thing we do to solve that pain and to solve that mystery in our own life is to make a decision to walk out of reality, or to walk away from someone, or to step away, or to kindly say, I'm sorry, I can't speak with you anymore. You know, sometimes we have to release a lot of, especially in an accelerated pathway. I've had to release so many different friends with karmic timelines, karmic cycles, you know, and then they re-show up, and then, you know, this weaving and navigating. Every day it's a dance and a play, and the timelines are shifting so fast now, right? We're shifting so fast that what was for you yesterday might not be for you today. And so we have to begin to really remember within ourselves that is that the thing we might have to shift is by letting go entirely, surrendering our human self to our higher self awakening pathway. Sometimes that's the greatest choice we can make, and by all means, it's not easy, right? To live this pathway of knowing, right? Of awakening, of no longer being able to play in those places. It's probably the one point in grieving that I always have, is my human life. Because there's a lot of things that I've wanted and desired in my life that I'm like, I had to let go of. Now things start to resurface where it goes, no, actually, you can have some of those things in your life, right? So it's not permanent, right? But it's about making sure that we are we have to make sure in our own lives that we are making sure that we are carrying, and nurturing the process of losing identity, which is a dark night of the soul. And there's a lot of really beautiful information about these dark nights and what happens, right? The more we embrace that, we go into that place of grieving and of loss and of feeling fully, that we are letting it go at deeper levels. Also know too is that sometimes the collective is not ready to let go of a program. So sometimes that program or that fear, that pain exists and keeps popping up because the collective itself doesn't want to let it go. And I've been finding that I found moments where I shift things out and I'm done, and then all of a sudden I land back at a layer or a thread, a year or a couple of months later, and it's like it's because some collectives don't want to let it go. That grading system might not want to let it go, right? And so we have to become more active in our approach of shifting that stuff out of our reality and making sure that we are doing what we can to let people know about this in the collective, right? It's important for us to be able to say, hey, you're right, or those things got to go, right? Speaking our truth, speaking our truth and speaking our peace. Yes, you've already done it. Trust yourself. Thank you. All right, so let's see. We'll do 3. What else does the collective need to hear right now? Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing, right? And so a part of that awakening, right? Awakening to Christ consciousness, awakening to our higher self in this transformation is knowing when you're in the chrysalis, right? What else is, and then, okay, boredom. Yeah, okay, I just said boredom. I want to talk about this. Transformation is boring, guys. All right, can anyone else agree that transformation is boring? There's some parts of it that are really exciting, right? A lot of parts of transformation that are really exciting, but there's a lot of parts of transformation that are like, what am I going to do today? It looks like I got to sit here and clearing at a cellular level, and there's nothing to do but be a lump of potatoes, right? I have this on YouTube where I'm a meat sack for the day, right? I'm just a lump of potatoes, and so thank you for like the transformation, right? Transformation can be boring, right? And it's the thing, right? Like, so let's do this. Collectively, we're addicted to excitement. We're addicted to drama. Or clear, cancel, delete that. Not all of us are. But let's look at like the general main stage, right? That's why we have news platforms. That's why we have a soap opera that plays out in TV and film, right? Is because we engage that. It's excitement, and so a part of this is this awakening aspect, especially with certain transformations. They're like, down, don't know. So I've had moments where they're like, no food, right? No smoking, no sex, no alcoholic beverages, no television, right? Nothing. And you're like, what do I do? Right? Well, you're detaching. So when you're in that place where you're doing nothing and you're told to do nothing, in the nothingness, you're detaching from everything that you're attached to. And a part of that is our identity. And a big part of that is the way that we begin to view ourselves as the identity, right? So even myself, Corey the tarot reader, okay, quote unquote. I'm so sick of that label, by the way. I'm not a tarot reader. I like playing with cards because cards are fun. The other day, teams told me you have to quit tarot, and I was like, okay. And I actually mourned the process, right? Because I still had an attachment or an identity to Corey being this. I'm not a tarot reader at all. I am in some level, but I'm not. I'm a light being in a body, and I use this as a tool, right? So I don't fit under that label necessarily, and I really don't like labels. But for some reason, we cast ourselves into archetypal roles and archetypal functionings because that's the way we understand. So thank you, Carl Jung. So a part of us detaching, right, is we have to detach from identity. Right? Like I am person's soulmate, or I'm the twin flame, or even, oh gosh. We can attach to pretty much anything, guys. Let's just put it that way. We can attach, and then people that even attach to detachment, all right? And I've had discussions about that a lot. So there are people that attached to detachment, and it's a thing. They attach to the identity of being detached from everything, which is still an identity. So at the end of the day, identity, I'm going to choose the higher self because the higher self seems to be a lot cooler than all hats that I've worn. All right, pillar of light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. You are the oracle, right? And so a part of that, right, is knowing that you as yourself are a messenger of the divine because you're embodied. So a part of this is awakening to our higher self within the form and our soul within the form is that it's already existed within you. You are that. Like even when you're, stretching back or doing the tango, right? Or doing the hustle out in the street, whatever, God bless you. Every moment of that you've been higher self embodied, right? This self is your light that exists within you, and that's what's showing up forward and through right now. Every time we crack through a veil, right, of our own disguise, the more we awaken to the immortal or the eternal self within. And part of that is that it doesn't prepare to just show up as that. But there's fear that gets in the way of a lot of people showing up as the light, right? How do I do this? This feels weird. Past life stuff starts to come up, especially with a lot of people that I know. There's quite a few when it comes to showing up in the light. It's like, because there's a lot of really deep cellular seals and clearing that needs to occur, right? So then a part of this is to remember you as that divine essence, though, right? Because as the human is going through the transformation and it's purifying at all levels, right? All levels, gosh darn, at all levels, right? Is to remember that light aspect of you or that lighter version of you, especially as you're going through the death and rebirth process. We need to take moments to come up for air, right? This was my way of doing it. I've been in my own little I've been in my own little storm, right, through my own life reviews. And I was like, I made a few videos today. My teams are coming in, they're looking at me, they're like, no, motherfucker, you're not supposed to be doing anything. And I'm like, I'm going live, right? And that's because I'm a rogue, right? But it's because really why is because I needed to bring out a laugh. I needed to bring out my light aspect and share that with the world. I wanted to. And this deck for myself too, it brings in a lot of really crystalline hope and a crystalline tonality. I feel like not only did I needed, but the collective needed right now, especially as we're going through this great punishment of whatever the hell is going on. And we're not victims here, but like if you're feeling that at all, like you're being punished or trapped, I invite you to go into that feeling, guys. I invite you to go into that feeling and to dwell in that not dwell in that feeling, but sit in the feeling for a little bit. I've got to be mindful of my words, guys. Being mindful of my words. Sit with that feeling, embrace that feeling, and allow it to flow through you because it's leaving, right? And so a part of this acceleration, right, is that we are excelling ourselves into realities and trajectories that we've probably not been in before. A lot of us haven't. It's new. And the requirement of new is new. To be new, to see new, to witness new, to breathe new, but to allow you in. And yeah, it feels uncomfortable to be new. It really does, because you're like, who am I, right? That's the questioning the identity. And that's the analysis paralysis that gets us all stuck into 3D systems, right? Allow, right? Allow. And once again, I know I might make it seem like it's easier than it is because I am in kind of this oracle mode, right? But the requirement is us to start laughing again. Laughing, play, do folly. There was a point in my journey, okay, where I started to and I laughed at all my traumas. Can I do that today? It's wishy-washy, right? Like catch me on Saturday and let's see. But the biggest thing about this was I had to start looking at myself and viewing my own funeral from the lens of a comedy. Okay, I know it's a little twisted sounding, but to go there, that's what I had to do. I had to start viewing my funeral and all those grave attempts to be this whatever it was, right? To become better acquainted with the folly of life paths, right? Because it's that not so serious approach, which helps sometimes to shift things out really quickly. And it's by no means bypassing, okay? But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get out of those realities, right? Like if you've been in a hellhole, laugh your way back to heaven. Or it's like I've been in those. I've gone through the rabbit holes and I've gotten stuck in 30 timelines where you just feel like you're quicksand, you're just constantly melting down. Well, so then what you do as a result of that, if you've been propagating those pathways or landing in those timelines, is laugh your way back out of it. right? Laugh your way back out of it. That humor is going to lift your physical body's vibration, but it's all it's the lightness of the attitude and the lightness of self, right? We are playing in a game of polarity. We want to by no means bypass the density in which you are experiencing. But what we're also doing is beginning to once again play with the polarity a little bit, because we can play with the polarity and design it in a new way. That's a part of creator consciousness, and observing our reality is as we're interacting with the polarity, we can engage with the polarity differently. We can share with the polarity in a different way. We can befriend the polarity in a certain level or a certain degree to invite it in and go, hello, welcome home. Why are you here? I see you. I'm observant of you. I love you, you cute little cucumber. Take a bite out of it, toss it back out, right? Toss it back out, make a salad. Make a salad. Yeah, Akasha, your guidance is guided. This come up earlier. This card came up earlier for me. Everything that you are feeling, hearing, sensing right now, what you're going to do is perfectly guided, right? This is clearing that Akashic memory from our physical body. So even if it feels strange, right? Like, so here's a big thing. Some of y'all, okay, when it comes to your divine guidance, sometimes your guidance will not make sense to anyone. Hello, Emma. It won't make sense to anyone. It won't make sense to you. It's going to go completely opposite of what your ego wants to do. It's going to do completely opposite of what your human life is. And that's the biggest is always ask questions to your higher self. Like, what does this mean for me? Right? Why is this showing up in my reality right now? Right? Why am I being guided to do this? Because that's another thing. We also want to question. We do want to question, especially as we were talking about interfacing so many different things, especially all the interference shit that's been going on, the stuff collapsing. Yeah, by all means, right? Always make sure you're working with your highest self, but your highest self exists within you. Okay, it exists within you. So this is about going within, but knowing that if your guidance doesn't make sense, it might not be meant to make sense, right? I've had things that my universe has told me to do, and I'm like, okay, all right. But I also too, I have an issue with arguing with my higher selves. Ever since LB taught me about advocacy of being a human, and being a advocate for a little while, I like to go into advocacy, work with my guides. So I will say, oh, why are you getting this? No, and I start questioning everything, which is not good because it lands in strange pathways. It lands in strange pathways. Yeah, what are you being divinely guided to do? What is going to make you the most happy in your life right now? What is going to bring you the most amount of fulfillment and the most amount of joy and the most amount of in your life, right? What is going to dissolve all the drama, all the chaos, all the war, all the storms, and come to this place of really beautiful joy in your life, right? It's really about making sure that we are all what we can to come back into that light. And thank you for shifting that. See, cool guys coming in there out of that one. You shift up. What's going to bring you into that place of balance in your own life right now? It's right before I started her 222, which to me is always about got to hold a lot of space, or we need to bring things into balance, right? You bring things into balance. So what are you being called to bring into your balance right now? Welcome, Libra, right? What are you being called to bring into balance in your own life? Future playtime. That's right. All right. Anything that comes through. Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic Teacher, Break the Chain. Interesting. I'm going to wait on that one. So Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic Teacher. This is really speaking about the emergence right now of our multidimensional selves and really coming back into that teacher within, the student and the teacher within. So the temple, if you imagine that your body is a temple, is a church, is a pyramid, a catacomb, whatever you want to view it as, right? The teaching happens internally of the temple, right? And this is where the student and the teacher meet, again, is within. And so a part of this multidimensional aspect of us coming in together as the unified self, right, is making sure that we're coming back in and remembering that beautiful teacher within, that we're connecting to that teacher within, and that we are allowing ourselves to also student of the new design, of the new pathways that are opening for ourselves, right? We don't want to be rigid and holding on to those old stories, the old tears, the old motives, the old conditioning, right? We want to allow that to shift and allow us to become better acquainted with the mother, right? Mother Gaia, Mother Guardian, whatever it might be for ourselves. Kind of like just true source consciousness and the great sun personally. We don't want to deal with the men. Sorry, guys, don't want to deal with middlemen. No, not sorry, actually. We don't want to deal with middlemen. Stranger things. But a part of this awakening to this design pathway that's opening up for ourselves right now is to make sure that we are we're coming in humble and curious, right, with our approach to what it is that we're experiencing or imagining lives right now, right? Like we're really, it feels like there's this level of sternness and rigidity that's knocking off the field in all of our lives and a lot of deception stuff that it requires us now to very much so come forward as what is bringing that laugh and that belonging back, because belonging has been such a big one. I'm hearing it, and it's about belonging. We want to make sure that we're belonging to a realm or a pathway that creates that higher version of ourselves to be invited and invoked forward through us to play again and to dance with consciousness and to dance with the cosmos. Because it's the thing is that there's a weight that can occur, WEIGHT, a weight of awakening and of ascension can happen where it gets to be too much, right? And we kind of grow cold to awakening, or we cold to new earth, right? I know this one where you're like, fucking done with awakening. I'm gonna go play human for a little bit. Well, I don't know water. Well, this happens. It happens frequently. That's why the essence of playing, coming back to that spirit of play and being really gentle with ourselves, is a very appropriate thing to do. It's very appropriate. Because I've gotten the awakening and I've gotten the ascension resentful where I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this crap. You know, F you all, I'm out of here. And my universe goes, yeah, okay, Corey, yeah, you're done awakening. Let's see how long that one lasts. A week later, I'm back. Right. And it's like it's whatever's gonna help us to shift out that resentment, that anger. But also too is like it's because basically Al needs attention and it's kicking and screaming and it's acting all funky and it's saying give me love, and it's time for us to give ourselves some love and attention, and to shift out of old ideologies and pathways that state that playing with the child is whatever it might be. Break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. Once again, coming back to that Akashic stuff, level of clearing. But there's also this invitation for some of you to go within the cave, to go into the cave. And a part of that going into the cave is a lot of, especially if you're on the Heroes Gamos timeline, men, if you're coming into that place of that unification with self, right? And I'm saying men here because there's something about the cave that always calls to me about the going into the mother, going into the womb, going into the nothingness, right? It's safe to go into the nothingness and to find some different perspective from that nothingness. The nothingness to myself, okay, to myself, or the caves of creation, or the sacred womb. That sacred technology and inviting myself into that it is a place of literally nothing. We call it the void. Right? And a part of that is in the void, we begin to detach at greater and greater levels. Right, detach from so many different parental patternings and programs, especially with how we view the cosmic mother, our own internal cosmic mother, right? Our own creative energy, our own creative essence, and how creation exists and why creation was even made in the first place, or why. Anyway, we're going a little wonky here. But a part of this going into this place for ourselves is that we're inviting in a perspective on what it is to be hollow, because a part of being hollow is that we begin to fill up again with self. That's the void of experience. But while we're traversing the transition point out of one reality and into a new one, we all have to begin to let things go. A lot of people talk about this, letting go of things, belongings, right? Clothing, old things out of old routines, old habits out of your reality, old physical objects, letting them go. It's an important part of going into the cave. And so for someone out here, right now it's saying you belong in that cave, not in a bad way, not in a persecution way, but because there's something unraveling and strengthening, and that is bonding connection to self, right? It is a part of that. Yes, there's the temperance card showing up in my mind's eye. I don't even need tarot cards. There it goes. It's a part of balance. a part of balance. It's a part of alchemy, and it's a part of a divine exchange that we have with ourself, is by going into that nothingness, right? Going into that womb temple and belonging there, belonging in the nothingness, right? Because then that's when we begin to expand our experience of how we're viewing the dark or the void. And it's actually much of a scary place, but it invites in a lot of opportunity to shed layers and to dissolve really old aspects of ourselves and to really pure cleanse our mind, body, field, space, our sacred temple, while we go into that place in our lives. And then, wow, this thing is behind 17 minutes. Interesting. We need to catch up here. And then finally, we have the Great Gathering. It's all coming together. Intuitive Hits, Soul Tribe. So yes, even if you don't feel like, oh, Starborn, even if you don't feel like they're coming together, they are right now, right? We as the human species, we don't like to be patient and we don't like to wait, okay? Everything is fast food, supermarket is fast, super freeways, Jello, TV dinner, okay. And so a part of this is how energies accelerate is something we have to slow down. There is this thing about patiently waiting right now because things are coming together. You are meeting your soul tribe. You are meeting your soul tribe. You are meeting your people. We are connecting etherically, right? And so I've found that a lot of my connections before they land in the physical is they happen up here. So you might be talking to someone, you might be communicating with someone, and then all of a sudden they show up. The closer and closer we get to 0 point, the faster things will manifest for ourselves. So part of this is knowing that, yes, it is all coming together. Oh, it's starting to rain. Is it raining? Where did those rain clouds come from? Cool, it's raining. Beautiful. Yay, we got water here. It's all coming together. Just knowing that even if you feel like you can't get out, right, and that this is all in your imagination, well, sorry, it's real. It's happening. It's all coming together, even if it doesn't feel like it. The cool thing about magic, okay, magic and illusion, is that not everything is as it appears it to be. And a part of that is there's a whole behind the scenes orchestration that's occurring for our highest good right now, that our higher selves are working with us in accordance to the law of one, in our connection with source, soul spark, where we are all being placed perfectly on our map with where we need to be in those future pathways. Even if that means right now being nowhere or not knowing where you're going or being misguided, we're all being guided right now. We're all being guided. So interesting, because the last card that came out was no, and it says wait, postpone, pause, say no. This is very much so a holding pattern energy, right? This is very much so a holding pattern energy. And that's very much so been like, stop, just go within. And a part of that no is also placing this kind of book ender on the reading, saying you don't need to read anymore, but it's also saying, guys, like, if you feel like you want to do something, but there's a part of you that's going, I would listen to that part of you that's going, at some level right now, because there's aspects of me that are like, no, we need to go do this and we need to go do that. And a part of this is I'm like, no, I need to not listen to that part of me that wants me to go do that right now. Because I have aspects of me that love to jump timelines really quickly and like to put me a little bit through my paces. And a part of this grand softening and grand nurturing is going, and especially with healing Chiron at deeper and deeper levels, is going, no, I'm not going to keep that trauma line alive. I'm sorry. I'm not going to just throw everything away and go run out naked into a forest with nothing and rebuild from scratch, right? With nothing but a bow and arrow on my back. I love you guys, but it's 2021 and ancestors, I ain't doing that, right? Like I've got free will reign over my reality, and I'm being still here. That might be what some people need, right? To go be wild and free. I'm not knocking it down or judging it at all. But I'm laughing because I'm making that silly joke because I have aspects of myself that want to do that. They're just like, yo, give up everything and just go out, go build a tree house, and you'll figure it out, right? You'll figure it out. How many times has anyone been in those situations where your team's like, hey, go do that, you'll figure it out, and you get out there and you're like, I ain't figuring shit out. Abort mission now. I've done that so many times. So it's really about, dang, this storm is kicking up right now. It's really about knowing ourselves so thoroughly and so purely, right? And so humbly, that we know also too when our addicts want to give us the most amount of learning in the shortest amount of time, and when they really just they really want us in a better place, right? We have to know what they're communicating and why they're communicating at all times, right? So anyway, done there. We're gonna be done reading cards right now. How's everyone doing? Does anyone have any questions? I've been live for an hour. Wow. Any questions? Yep. Are there any questions? Has the feed been pausing? Maybe a little bit. It's okay though. Hey guys. Well, for that, I'm done. I just wanted to come in and hop live for a little bit and say what's up. Say hi, share some readings, see what's going on, share some vibes, have some fun. You know, the good old. I'm working on. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna read this a little bit more. There was a oh, your connection's unstable. We're gonna be showing up a little bit more podcast, a little bit more Oracle. I'm trying to slowly wean myself off of doing card readings. And yeah, my radiator's done now. I'm actually I'm at a park. I live at an RV park now. So we'll be showing up like this more sporadically, spontaneously. If you guys need guidance sessions or anything, you can go to my website, foundersoflight.org. So the website's back up and running. I've got some new sessions available up there too. So if you need anything, please reach out. Thank you for all your support, all your likes, shares, subscribes, right? All the laughs. And let's just keep bringing balance to this stuff. Let's keep doing what we can as a community to heal, to stay strong, because we're stronger together than we are apart. That's for sure, right? Make sure that we're taking those days out to pray, right? And pray doesn't mean sit down and do the whole old Holy Father thing. It can be as simple as just saying, sending healing out to the collective today, right? Sending an intention of love to everyone that I encounter, right? You know, taking a moment to gift, you know, that opportunity of self-love to my heart, whatever it might be, whatever that is, right? Keep sending out those prayers, those good wishes. Keep calling forward those higher self trajectories. Keep calling forward those paths, and please keep allowing miracles in your own life. Even if you feel like it's surviving, give yourself the opportunity to wake up every morning inviting in that day. Whatever it might be for you, just say, hey, universe, show me the magic. Universe, I'm coming forward a miracle today. Might be seeing a grasshopper. It might be, you know, getting some money. It might be getting an invitation, talking to someone you hadn't talked to in a while, having a beautiful conversation with someone. Whatever it might be, every single day, just wake up and go, universe, show me a miracle today. What miracle do I need? And sometimes that miracle that you need to witness is yourself. Sometimes that miracle that you need to witness yourself in the mirror and go, God damn, you are the miracle I've been waiting for. Thank you. Right? So that abundance you need is not something you need outside of you. It's that really deep welling self-love within you, and being able to look at yourself in your own mirror, see yourself in your own two eyes and go, you know what? I'm proud of you. Right? I love you. I forgive you. It's doing the Ho'oponopono work with self. So, you know, if you're calling forward miracles, they're not showing up, maybe you're the miracle. And the universe is just waiting for you to see that you are the miracle. Right. So take time out, please, every single day to show yourself some respect. Show yourself some courage. Show yourself some love, right? Show yourself some attention. Give yourself an opportunity to say, hello, hi, nice to see you again in the mirror. I'm glad we made it another day. There's a lot of people that don't want to be here right now, right? And at those moments, I understand that too. I know it's like waking up as a star being a body, right? Being a star boy and going, I don't belong here. Why am I here? Well, we're here for a reason, right? And so a lot of this belonging energy that's coming forward is making sure that we're waking up and we're saying, hey, you know what? I'm proud of you and I'm glad you're alive today. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it back from hell. I'm glad you're giving yourself the opportunity to see life today and giving yourself the opportunity to begin to remember what it is to have life and to share life with the world. Gone through a lot in this journey. We've gone through so many different things, especially being an indigo, right? Especially with the hybridization stuff, right? Institutions, we've all been through a lot in this journey, and it's really up to us now to begin to welcome in this opportunity to become better acquainted with all those aspects of ourselves that were not allowed to be here for a long time, because now, whew, they're here and they're allowed to be here. And this is how we awaken humanity, right? We awaken humanity, man, like, hi, I am a galactic commander. How are you? Yeah, I do serve on that council. Yeah, me and your girl the other day, not in that way, but like home girl, okay, home girl. I saw that one coming, you tricky bastards. Love you. But like we do council work together, right? It's like it's that it's making sure that you are showing up in your higher light self as a star, as a galactic, as an elemental, right? As a magician, whatever it might be, and sharing that with the world, because there was aspects of ourselves that could not be here now. And right now it's very much so eyes open, kids. We're here now. You know, we're here. We're here. We're love. We're beautiful. We're strong. We're resilient. And we're going to keep sharing that light with the world because we already won. There's not much else we need to do, but just keep becoming their companion with ourselves, taking care of ourselves, merging with our higher self, merging with our oversoul, and connecting deeper to all that we are and sharing that with the world. We can really do with a more simplified process, though. I will say that. Right? Right? Okay, guys, I love you. Much love and respect to everyone out there. And I will see you